In this episode, chicken tariffs, Californians, and Derek starts a cleaning business. Welcome to episode 50, already 50 of the We Are Auto Show. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. I went to a little trivia bar. You know how they just have trivia at like bars and sports bars and stuff. We got suckered into one yesterday.
Ooh.
And they hit me with a car question I didn't know.
Ooh.
And all my friends were like, you have to know this. You have a car podcast. You must know this.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you with a question to see if you'll know it.
All right.
All right, so the question was, what manufacturer changed its name from SS Cars Limited after World War II to remove its association with the Nazis? And it was a multiple choice question. It was Porsche, Jaguar, Volkswagen, or Citroen?
Good question. I don't know this right off the top of my head, but I'm going to take an educated guess here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go by process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
Porsche hasn't really changed their name at all.
Okay.
Right. Volkswagen really hasn't changed their name at all either.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes two out. So it's either got to be Jag or Citroen.
Yes.
So neither were really allies of the Germans. France and the UK.
Right. This is where I was stumped.
Citroen, maybe?
Wrong. It's Jaguar.
Jag.
Jag started as the name SS Cars Limited.
Huh.
And I guess that in 1990 or 1922 is when they started.
Did it say what SS stood for? Or just SS?
They began as a sidecar business, so I imagine SS was sidecars.
Something.
Right. At two motorcycles. And then after a year, they decided to shorten their name to SS Cars Limited.
So Jag was originally SS?
Jag was originally SS. Now, I don't really understand the heritage to the Nazis.
Well, because the Nazi, essentially, I guess, military police was called the SS.
So after World War II, they changed their name to Jaguar Cars Limited to avoid the negative connotation of the name similarity to the SS troops of Nazi Germany. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
where SS would put them into some bad water. Do you consider yourself a good trivia player?
They did ask me a couple space questions, and I knew those. But when it came to like culture stuff, no.
Pop culture and stuff?
Yeah. So
I'm useless.
no, I'm not a great one.
Useless. We've actually talked, my wife and I, that I'm like not allowed to go to trivia because I just bring the whole team down.
I wouldn't say I do that.
I can usually get one or two and they're random and it's like out of nowhere. Like where did you know that from? Either way, that's interesting. I didn't know Jag started as SS.
I did not either, and I felt like I should have known that. But now we know.
Granted, that is also literally 100 years ago now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But I guess I digress. Is it now time to move on to some news?
We should chat about some news.
Okay, what you got?
So let's kick it off with something called Nissan At Home. Have you ever heard of this?
Nissan At Home.
Would you like a Nissan at your home?
Unless it's a GTR, no.
You could get a GTR through this, but you probably won't. So this was actually brought up at work, which I found kind of interesting. And in the process of us working with a whole bunch of car dealers, one of the ways that we're going to market to sell our software to car dealers is trying to figure out what car dealers are working with the Nissan At Home software, I would assume that it is.
Okay.
And this will allow a Nissan dealer to buy into this OEM created software that they can then put on their website, and it will allow them to purchase a car through the Nissan At Home system, and the dealer will be the one to deliver it to someone. Now, the user, the purchaser of the car, does not actually have to go to the dealership or interact with the dealer like at all.
So, let me be a consumer here.
Mm-hmm.
I am consumer Johnny Sue.
All right. It's a weird name.
I want to buy a boy named Sue. I want to buy a Nissan Puke. No, that doesn't exist anymore. A Nissan, what is it, the Kicks now?
Yeah, I think it's the Kicks.
Right. I go on to, I use the interwebs to the Nissan At Home site, right? And then I just order me one like I DoorDash a car.
I believe that's how it works, yes.
And then it's literally like DoorDash for cars.
It's like you can order the car, go through all the paperwork, go through the financing shenanigans all online.
But you can already do that with like the Carvanas and the Zooms and all them.
You can.
Or the Vrooms.
But all those are fancy used car manufacturers or used car dealerships.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
they're
this is
not
a
OEM.
new car. Okay, yeah.
This is OEM backed is what this is.
Got it.
It's kind of interesting. A lot of car companies are moving down this path.
Do you like it?
I think it's good, but I wonder when we're going to move into the world where we just get rid of the dealership. Because why have the dealership middleman in here is my question.
To make money.
To
service the car?
Certainly. It's the community driven, it's the servicing, it's all like the day-to-day operations of dealing with cars.
Also provides jobs.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have a car dealer. I'm saying Nissan could make more money if they went direct to consumer. Or the car could be significantly cheaper to the consumer.
It could, in theory, yeah.
And they, in theory, already have the software to do it.
Would you buy a car like this?
The only manufacturer that I know that does this is Tesla goes direct to consumer.
I think they're one of the only ones.
They are one of the only ones.
There might be like one or two others, but I think they're like one of the only ones.
Well, go in the new cars that are coming out, the new EVs. Rivian, right?
Yeah.
They're going that same path.
Are they? Yeah, they are.
Yep. Who's the one that you saw recently?
The Lucid.
The Lucid. They're going the same path. So all the guys that are coming from tech and going into auto manufacturing are thinking, we don't need car dealers. Like, why?
Well, especially since they're EVs, which means they don't really need to be serviced.
Right. In theory. So it's interesting to see that Nissan is going down this path where they want to keep the car dealer. And if you put yourself in their shoes, they can't get rid of the dealership.
Oh, correct.
There's no way. Like, their business model is banking on the dealership.
Yeah.
So they're trying to bridge that middle ground between, like, we see what Tesla's doing, we see what Rivian's doing, we want to do that, but also have this weird middleman dealership in the middle, and it's like, this is the best option.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Yeah.
It does seem weird.
I'm curious to see if we're going to see more of this coming from Ford and other manufacturers, and I bet you we will. And I also wonder, will this win in the long run?
It might. Now, I guess I'm curious. Like, does this mean that, like, do they? What's their biggest benefit?
Nissan?
Yeah.
They just get to see. Well, I mean, they already see this. I don't know. I don't think that there is too much of a benefit other than having, like, ease of use for the consumer. They did quote in here that the test that they did with, I think, 10 dealerships. It was remarkable what we found during this summer, which is when they did their test. Our sales close rate nearly doubled with customers who used this shopping solution.
Whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
They're closing 50% more, essentially?
Doubled.
2x close rate is...
Oh, that's huge. In a big purchase item like this, the second biggest you're going to make, right? Like,
that's big.
That's insane.
I mean,
that's big revenue numbers for
doubling the
Nissan.
close rate. That seems like a lot.
That seems like a ton. So we'll see. We'll see if this lasts for a long time. It does feel like they're trying to remove the friction of you going to the dealership and haggling with the sales guy.
Is this the death
nobody
of the
likes.
salesman, though?
Debatably.
So if you're a car salesman, should you be looking for a new job?
I mean, yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Now, I personally would rather not do it this way.
You would personally go to a dealer?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like shaking hands with people.
Yeah, but you were a sales guy at a bank.
Something like that, yeah.
You know who the best people to sell to are?
Who?
Other salesmen. They are actually the easiest to sell to.
I would disagree with that.
Because if you hit them with a good pitch, they appreciate it more.
But if you try too hard, I'm
Yes.
like, sorry, brother. You
There's
lost
that.
me there.
There's that, yes.
That's a debatable stat. But
Okay,
I see where you're going with that.
Let me play the other side of the car dealership stuff here.
Yeah.
Like if you are one of those manufacturers where you're Tesla or Rivian or Lucid and you don't want to have the middleman car dealer in there, the problem you run into is service and parts and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're in right now big problems with Tesla service. I've not heard of Rivian service. I have no idea what that's like. That cannot be good.
Oh, I'm sure it's horrible.
There's no local Rivian dealer to take your truck to.
Yeah.
You just have to send it across the country to California. In our case,
let's mail it via postal service.
Yeah, so that's
hope it gets there and they don't lose the mail.
Yes, that is one of the major downsides to not having the car dealership.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up winning, but it was interesting to hear and see about Nissan pushing this at-home stuff.
That is very interesting.
Yes. So, do you have any news that we should chat about?
I do. I've got some news out of Korea.
Okay.
Hyundai, Kia. Yeah, Korean cars.
Yes.
There's a big recall going with these new Hyundais and Kias.
I have heard a thing or two about this. I saw some headlines about this. Tell me more.
So apparently they're catching fire.
Oh, God. Okay.
My car's on fire.
Okay.
I feel Ricky Bobby. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. So a lot of these, I guess not a lot. Actually, we're going to get into the number that may or may not be a lot. We will define that. But there is a large recall that is covering 120,000 Kias and 350,000 Hyundais, totaling about 470,000. That's almost 500,000 cars.
That's a lot of cars
that have been recalled.
Is that? I'm assuming that's worldwide.
I believe so.
U.S.
owners. Maybe this may just be U.S. owners.
Oh my gosh.
I think this may actually just be U.S. owners. Regardless, there's been some reports of fires.
Okay.
Notice the word I said there. Some reports of fires.
Yeah, how many reports are we talking about here?
So they've recalled the 470,000 vehicles. How many reports do you think they would have?
I don't know how recalls work, but I would assume it's a good number of events have happened before you start recalling vehicles.
No.
What's the number?
It's 11.
They're recalling 500,000 cars because 11 have caught fire?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
That seems like a weird percentage.
It's not high.
That seems like a 0.000 nothing percent of the amount of cars.
So is this just a big PR thing?
Maybe. Or maybe they are just ticking time bombs and they're all going to spontaneously combust.
Tell me more about this combustion.
So Hyundai and Kia and all of them, they're actually, until they have the fix for it.
Right.
They're telling all the owners of these cars, which is 2014 and 2016 Kia Sportages, 2016 to 2018 Kia K900s, and 2016 2018 Hyundai Santa Fe's. They're telling all the owners of these essentially 2014 to 2018 Korean cars to not drive them and leave them parked far away from your home.
What the heck? Really?
So yes, you can't drive your car and park it 1,000 miles away in case it just catches fire so that your house doesn't burn down.
What the heck?
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
So apparently, the manufacturers, I'm going to steal a quote here, the manufacturers believe an electrical component in the anti-lock braking system may experience an internal electrical short circuit that could increase the risk of fire both while the vehicle is being driven or parked, which is why they're telling you, hey, dude, if you got a Kia or a Hyundai, any Korean car built between 2014 and 2018, just park that sumbitch way out in the middle of nowhere. Just don't even look at it.
Okay. That's not good.
What?
For 11?
What? 11 cars, and they're telling almost 500,000 people to leave your car parked in the middle of nowhere because it might just spontaneously burst into a ball of fire. This reminds me of when Samsungs were blowing up in people's pockets.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yep. I guess it doesn't take many to hurt the reputation of the manufacturer.
I guess it also depends on what is wrong with it. If it's I don't know, something stupid like your radio 4 button is sticking. Maybe they need maybe they need
Right.
100 cars to go bad.
Right.
But if it's if your car is on fire, you need anything over 10 or something like that.
It's a proper safety concern.
Yeah. I think that could be why they've only had 11 reports of fires and they recalled almost 500,000 cars.
Interesting that even if the car is off, it will still do it.
And that's where my thought went, was dude, your car's off. Come on. You're not even going into ABS. But apparently, don't look in touch or drive or think about or even go near your Korean car or it's going to blow up on you.
And it was the ABS system?
Yeah.
ABS computer?
Apparently, the ABS is making the car get blowed up.
In the article that I had glanced at as I was looking at this, apparently there was like foreign debris that was in the computer, and that could possibly cause a short circuit across two little electrical circuits and start a fire. But
I guess why did they even get that? Like, how did they even get the debris? Because was it not a hermetically sealed manufacturing?
No, it must have been a manufacturing defect, is my guess. Yeah.
Oof. Well, I wonder
Big oof.
There's going to be some sort of monetary settlement.
I don't know. I also wonder what the fix is. If it's the maintenance guy opens up this computer, goes, blows it out, and just closes it back up and sends you on your way.
You know what? I bet you that's exactly what it is.
I don't know.
He just opens up.
Yeah.
We're good. Send her back out.
It's a Nintendo cartridge and an N64. You just blow the dust out.
That's exactly what I just thought of. I was like, oh, yeah, Super Mario back in the day. You got to slam that bitch back in there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. All right, Donkey Kong will load now.
All right, your Kia's safe.
Yeah. If you were the consumer, how would that make you feel? If you found out that literally all that had to be done was just some dude cracks it open and just kind of
puffs some air in there.
Yeah.
Gets out that little tiny piece of metal somewhere floating around in there.
It's one speck of dust.
Maybe.
Poof! And you're all dead.
Still not good press for them because all of the headlines that I saw, the press just blew it up. Get away from your Kia, it's going to explode. Yeah, that's the headlines.
That is pretty much every headline we see is in the movies, oh, she's going to blow. And as you're running away, the explosion in the background, you're jumping and flying and diving and in a big dramatic scene and everything goes into slow motion.
Yes.
That's what could happen to your Korean car between 2014 and 2018. All right, so that's all the Korean news for you. Do you have anything that we should move on to?
I do. So we had something happen, it was 2 weekends ago now at the Rolex 24. IMSA came out with other news, and we didn't talk about this last show, but we needed to.
Yes. It's because we had a lot of Rolex talk to talk about.
We did, so it's probably good to push it to this one. Did you see that IMSA has renamed the top class, the class that is currently DPI? They were coming out with all of their new LMDH cars. We've been talking about it for every single podcast we've been on, basically.
Yeah.
All the manufacturers are coming out. Well, they came out with the name of it. And remind you that they just bought HSR.
Okay.
Do you know what the class was called way back when in HSR, the top class?
Trying to remember. I'm struggling.
Okay.
Help me out.
It starts with GT and ends with P.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's just... So if you are a new race fan, I'm sorry. Okay. Because this is going to be the most confusing year of your life.
Yeah. IMSA named their top class GTP. Okay.
Golf Tango Papa.
Yeah. They already have a class named GTD. D as in Derek.
Yeah. And they also have a class named GTDP for GTD Pro.
Yeah.
The abbreviation, when we were watching the feed, was GTDP and GTD. So now they're going to have GTP, LMP2, LMP3, GTDP, GTD. Oh my God.
It's bad. Normally,
did they get their name
very good with PR and press and stuff. Not saying that this is a PR blunder, but this is just going to be a confusion thing. And the reason that they did this is because it's a throwback to the old top class of racing back in the 80s or something.
It's paying homage. I get that.
Yes.
But dear God, why did we do another G, a T, and a P?
I don't know. It's a bad name for a class. LMDH would have been great.
Well, because we could have followed along LMDH in WEC, LMDH in IMSA.
Yes.
We could... A new fan could have seen a similar name watching a Glickenhaus in Portimao or wherever, and then a Glickenhaus at Sebring and go, oh, that's the same class. It looks LM. And now that doesn't... Oh, my God.
Now, interestingly enough, the ACO has not released the name of their top class yet. The
WEC is going to have LMDH, LMH.
They might.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
It might be a different
for
name
people.
for the same cars in different series.
I feel so bad for the new people that are getting into racing literally this year. They're going to be the most confused people in the world, I think.
If the ACO doesn't name it GTB, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of all the different acronyms they could have made. Oh,
It could be anything other than what they did would have been great.
I wish they would have all literally just kept it LMDH, LMH, end. Just across the board.
Sure.
WC, IMSA, ACO, everyone, make it that so that people understand. I get there's homage and there's like an actual reasoning why a throwback, a heritage reason, but dear God.
Why not LMP1?
That'd make a lot of sense.
Le Mans Prototype 1. They're all Le Mans prototypes. I don't care about your Daytona prototype thing. Just get rid of it, IMSA.
Literally just call it P1.
P1.
Prototype 1.
Sure. No problem.
Or just prototype.
But instead
Something.
you named it the most confusing name possible.
Just call it H.
There's
Hypercar. Something.
In the middle of a race, we are not going to be able to talk to each other and understand what class we're talking about anymore.
Did you see that GTP? Yeah, the GTP. No, the GTD.
Oh,
no,
awful.
the GTP.
It's
no,
awful.
the GTP. Wait, what? I'm sorry.
It's awful. We're just going to call it P1.
Prototypes. Yep, P1.
Yeah.
Love
P1, P2, P3, GT,
it.
D, and GTP.
GTDP?
Oh, God. Okay, we're moving on.
That's a struggle, dude.
That is an absolute struggle.
Lord.
Yeah. We do have more P1 news to talk about.
We've got some P1 news to talk about. So does that mean that's GTP
Stop.
or LMDH or LMH?
Stop. Anyway, Cadillac has released their a teaser of their LMDH cars. What's in this article, which I love.
like a tease.
I love. Take a look at this car.
That's turning me on.
This is going to be what they release in their P1 class, which I'm calling P1 from now on.
That's turning me on. Derek.
And it is a Cadillac, and there's a video associated with it. I'm not going to play it because we've gotten in trouble for copyright claims before playing videos.
True.
But you can post it on socials if you want.
I might just do that.
It does have audio in it, and it sounds exactly like the prototypes that are running right now in IMSA.
So
which is
does
great.
sound. That's what I was hoping to hear. Is that it does have that same like that deep bellowing.
Yes, it does.
Like Mustang sampling.
Yep.
DPI that just rumbles.
Yep, that thunderous DPI sound. Yes, it's fantastic.
I'm so excited for this.
Yep. So, do you know what that brings the total in that class to? In the P1 class?
I was doing some totaling and I was doing some sums and summing and adding, additioning. Yes, I do.
Okay. You struggle with math, don't you?
I struggle with a lot of things. It brings us to double digits, dude.
Really?
All right. So
in manufacturers
the
that are
total
competing.
manufacturers that are competing in top class racing, which is LMDH, Le Mans Daytona Hybrid, LMH, Le Mans Hypercar, and GTP, and whatever they call it in the ACO, is, are you ready for these 11 manufacturers?
Yes.
Acura.
Good.
Audi. BMW, which we already know is ugly. Cadillac, which, here we go, Cadillac, right? Porsche, Alpine, Glickenhaus, Toyota, Peugeot, Bicolis, and Ferrari.
Wow.
With the possibility for Lamborghini, and I heard Bugatti.
Oh, Bugatti. Wow.
I heard. That's a rumor. Who knows? We'll find out.
Okay. That's 11. I would assume that they're probably both going to, or a lot of them will field 2 cars. So that probably brings us up to 20-ish cars, 18, 20 cars, right?
There's going to be a hell of a lot of cars in these fields.
Which is fantastic to see.
I mean, if you think the Rolex this year had 61 cars,
Right.
think about what it's going to be next year and the year after.
Yeah. They actually ran out of pit stalls this year.
They're going to need to build more pit stalls.
They wanted 64 cars.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with them?
I don't know.
Are we going to do pit stalls in the grass?
I don't know.
Are we going to do it like the LA Coliseum where they just do like parking spots?
Ay. I am pumped for this, and I think that this Cadillac does look great.
Dude, I'm stoked. This LMDH VR.
Yeah, and I am also glad to hear that the engine is staying, or it basically sounds the same and fantastic.
Yeah.
Because that prototype is graspy and thunderous, like just the right amount. Just the right amount.
It reminds me of a Corvette.
Yeah,
because it pretty much is. It pretty much is that same Corvette engine, essentially. I mean, with some extras, but
it doesn't hit you quite as hard as the Corvette used to. But
correct.
It still is very grunty sounding.
I just love the different sounds we're gonna have. We're gonna have the flat six of the Porsche. We're gonna have a V10 in the Lamborghini. We're gonna have the big V8s.
I've heard Porsche is going V8.
Yeah, in the top class.
Yes.
In the GTD, in GT. God damn it, GTD Pro and GTD.
It's bad.
They're gonna keep their flat sixes in the 911 GT3R.
I wonder why they didn't go flat six in the
because they haven't in top class in a while.
Okay.
The 919 they used to race in LMP1. The top
name.
class.
A good name.
That wasn't a flat six.
Okay.
Either way, we got 11 manufacturers top class racing.
It's going to be fantastic.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah, brother. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes, so speaking of hell yeah, brother.
Uh-huh.
There was a race that happened this weekend.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of hell yeah brothers going on out there.
Were there?
I'm sure from the people in the stands there were.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I spotted one sober person in the entire crowd. You know who else was out at this race, this NASCAR race?
Who?
Good old Rodney Sandstorm.
Oh,
Jordan Taylor. Yeah,
Jordan Taylor was out
and
there?
he actually had people all dressing in the same, like what was it, Jeff Gordon shirt that he has.
Oh, really?
So he had like Where's Waldo of like Jordan Taylor, Rodney Sandstorm fans and people around the crowd. Fantastic. But let's talk a little bit about this LA Clash, this LA Coliseum. We previewed it last week, but did you happen to watch any of it?
I watched the review of the race, like the post-race recap, basically, of it. Okay. And I was a bit confused as to what was going on.
Where do
you want to start?
The only part that I really saw was the first third-ish of the final race.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
There's a saying apparently in LA, and I heard this from someone else that talked about a recap of the race, where fans in LA show up late and leave early. Doesn't matter what sporting event you're at, that's what they do.
That sounds like California.
It does.
It just sounds like a California.
It does.
Oh my God.
So this event was the first time that I know that NASCAR has ever done heat races and then like a heat qualifying to have like a final event.
It's just weird.
Let me lay out the schedule for you. 3 p.m. California time. They start with the heat race that's 25 laps each. And I don't even know however many people continue on past that, but like a certain amount of people continue on past that if you do well in that race. Then we go to the first of 2 last chance qualifying races that are 50 laps each. That starts at 4:10. And then finally at 6 o'clock.
Wait. So that's such a quick race.
Yes, 50 laps. It started with 25 lap races, 4 of them in total. So I imagine they split the field into quarters.
It's like a 10-minute race.
Yeah, it's a short track too. A lap there is like 15 seconds. It's really short. But that started at 3. By the time we got to 6 o'clock, we were into our, 7th race of the day at that point. And it was the final race, which was 150 laps. And it was the full on, if you had qualified all the way up through all of the qualifications, you made it to this event. And this was the finale, I guess.
I watched the first about third of that race.
And that was the finale event, I'm sure?
Yeah.
Okay. What were your takes?
Racing quality?
Sure.
None. I mean, the quality of the race was... As a driver, how could that have been any fun?
I don't think it is.
Like, as a driver, you've got to go into a race thinking, I got to at least have a little bit of fun here, right? I couldn't imagine being any of those drivers thinking, yeah, this looks like fun.
I get LA traffic, but why bring it to the racetrack?
Yeah, agreed.
Because that's what it was.
Yeah, 100%. It was just, it was every single corner, just bumper cars. And it wasn't bumper cars where like carnage and like the world is blowing up.
No.
It was like bumper cars because they're just not going fast enough to like have cars flipping into the crowd and on fire and like.
The top speed of the lap was 60 miles an hour.
That's less than the highway.
That's almost pit road speed. That's insane. It was such a short track that they couldn't get the cars past like 60 miles an hour.
Oh my God. The
corners were going 20.
That's so slow. The entertainment quality, I will say, was initially entertaining, but then got boring.
Yes.
Like initially it was like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. They're just bumping everywhere. And then it was like, okay, that was 35 laps and they're still just bumping everywhere. Nothing is really changing. What can we do something, please?
Another interesting note here. NASCAR's running out of cars.
Are they?
Yeah. I believe that they have chassis manufacturers and parts manufacturers for all these different components that are on the new car, because you can't just take a piece of sheet metal and just rip it across a frame now.
Yeah.
It's actually carbon and you got to sort it all out. As we move toward Daytona, which is the next event that's coming up, and that will be the qualifying race for Daytona, the Speed Weeks, which is like a week prior. Soon. If we see a big crash in Daytona in the qualifying race and it totals 5-6 cars, we're not going to see a full field at Daytona for the 500.
True.
They're that low on car numbers right now. And I believe that the one car that had a big incident here, he basically got punted into the inside wall. I believe that car might be toast for Daytona too. Yeah. So,
oh my God.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Also, the TV ratings here were very good for NASCAR. So I imagine we're going to see another one of these events.
Why? I know people watch. I think, here's my theory. I think the first time they do this, the TV ratings are going to be good. I think the second time they do this, they're going to go, well, why didn't this work again? What the hell?
I totally agree. And I think that's what everybody else is saying too. I don't know what's going to happen.
Everyone wanted to watch it to see what the hell is going to happen.
Exactly.
And then they watched it and saw what the hell was going to happen and went, oh, okay.
I don't think we'll see it again at the Coliseum. I think that we'll see it somewhere else, but I think it will be a West Coast event, and it will be in a unique spot as well. Where? I don't know. But if the TV ratings are good, and they're coming out to be good, NASCAR will do it again. If the TV ratings were bad, NASCAR would not do this again.
Well, I think the next time's TV ratings won't be good.
It could, if they go back to the Coliseum, I can guarantee you it won't be good.
I just don't know how many times you can do a flat third of a mile track that doesn't even have a straight that's going to make people watch.
I think that they will continue to use this as a testing bed for other racetracks that are unique to the venue that they're at and see if one sticks. From what I can tell, this didn't stick.
Yeah.
It was an interesting event, though. And I like to see them testing out the waters of new things.
Yeah. You're all about progress.
Yeah.
I want them to go back to sheet metal and 5-lug wheels and no brakes.
I am very, very curious to see how the number of cars ends up starting the race at the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's going to be maybe putting them in a pickle.
And I've heard that small teams, like not your Hendricks Motorsports or big guys, are taking their cars there, like bringing them close to the track, hoping that a big team stuffs a car in the wall, needs a car, and they just purchase the car off of them. Yeah, so there's like a whole inside economic system going on.
Let me just write you a fat check. Right. My driver stuffed it.
Yep.
Oops.
You need a car to start the Daytona 500?
Can I give you $500,000? Sold!
I just so happen to have one right here.
I guess opportunity.
Opportunity indeed. It's kind of interesting, though.
Agreed.
So, you want to hear something else interesting?
I do.
What'd you do on Sunday night?
I watched a little bit of this LA Clash and then promptly went to bed. What did you do?
Well, I spent my Sunday night cleaning up about 3 to 4 liters of motor oil off the bottom of my garage floor.
Ooh, very nice, Derek. How'd that go?
It was not good.
That was great. I'm sure.
Let me walk you through the series of events that played out on my Sunday night.
You know what? Please do.
It was fantastic. So Sunday afternoon rolled around, had some fun, hung out with the boys, played disc golf, no problem. And then got home. I was like, going to change my oil, no problem. Great day. Got the oil changed out of the car. Got the new oil in the car. Was pouring the fresh oil in the last little bits to make sure that it was perfectly, on that top line where it needed to be on the dipstick, no problem. Spilled a little bit on the cylinder head. I was like, oop, just a little bit, no problem. So I got
clean that up a little bit.
Got a towel out. You needed to clean it up. In order to clean it up, I needed to take the oil filter off to be able to put my hand down there to get the oil that spilled. Okay, so I took my oil filter off. It was the new one. It had already been seated.
Hold on. You already had the oil filter on.
The fresh one. Okay. And I had actually, prior to that, started the car. It was all good. Everything was fine. Then spilled my oil, took the oil filter off, cleaned up the oil that had spilled, and then proceeded to screw it back on. Then I got in the car, and actually I had like an hour to spare, ate lunch, came back to the car because I needed to go somewhere else and do some errands. As I turned the car on, no problems. I pull out of the garage, and then I look up right as I'm about to close the garage, and there's a pool of oil under the car, and I'm like, oh shit. Turn the car off immediately. Turn it off now.
Yeah, because you were going to run dry on oil right now.
So the car was only running for about 10 seconds. But in the 10 seconds, I managed to expel about 3/4 of the oil out of the engine.
That's not fun.
And here's a good little picture if you're watching on YouTube of the garage and all the oil just sitting on the ground.
Oh my God.
You can see the trail of where I pulled the car out.
Oh yeah. If you're listening on audio, you can just picture. You remember when BP had an issue in the Gulf of Mexico? That is Derek's garage floor.
Yeah, it was not good. What had ended up happening, and learn this lesson. Don't be me. Don't fall for this twice. I didn't set the seal correctly on the oil filter.
The second time around?
The second time around.
The first time around, I'm sure you did.
First time around, I did. I pre-oiled it with the fresh oil. I made sure it was all set in there perfectly. The next time I pulled it out, it was just off a little bit. It was, how it sits in the oil filter? The seal does?
Just so.
Just perfectly?
Just so.
Apparently, when I screwed it on the next time, it popped off the seal. And there's a lot of oil pressure in that little Subaru engine. And it sprayed all over my engine bay. Everywhere.
So your entire engine bay was just covered in oil?
Completely covered. I spent the next 2 hours just getting oil out of the engine bay all over everything.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, big whoopsies.
Did you pull out the cat litter?
I did not pull out cat litter. I did end up having a whole bunch of shop towels, and I cleaned it up that way. I probably should have done the cat litter because that's a good way to clean up those fluids.
Sops it up, yeah.
Yeah. But I eventually did clean it up. It just took a long time, and it was a pain in the butt.
You do know the EPA will be knocking on your door in about 18 minutes now.
Could be. But yeah, not a fun experience.
You did not have a great Sunday night.
No, but I did get the oil changed.
Great. Twice, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So essentially, if you didn't spill oil on the cylinder head, you would not have had to have spent 3 hours cleaning up oil.
No. But if you do need to expel the oil out of a BRZ, taking off the oil filter, turning on the engine for 10 seconds is one way to do it.
Whoosh! And it's all gone.
And it's everywhere. It was awful. My. So yeah. Don't make the mistake I made.
Oof.
Seat your filter seal correctly before you turn the car on.
That would do some help, I think, there.
Yeah. Live and learn. It was a learning experience.
Seems like it. Yeah. So that was your Sunday night.
That was.
Now, my wife and I, we have started binging a new show.
Okay.
Called Yellowstone. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of it, yes.
Honestly, it's my favorite new show. Okay. But as a car guy, I'm peeved.
Okay.
I'm peeved. And this is such a car guy thing. In movies, as a car guy, do you ever notice when they have maybe they'll have this exotic Lamborghini and they dub a V8 soundtrack on it or something?
Yep.
In what is now my favorite show, which maybe now I will disown it. They have a Dodge Ram 2500 and 3500 Cummins turbo diesel. And as they had scenes of it driving around, they dubbed over not a diesel soundtrack, but the soundtrack out of like a Hellcat. Like a very screaming loud V8.
That's bad.
And I just looked at her and I was like, that's wrong. And she's like, goddamn, I hate you. Why would you have to think about these things? These little inaccuracies, as a car guy, drive me crazy.
Not good.
There was actually one scene where it was a completely different kind of a V8 noise, but there was one scene where the guy he's rushing someone to meet the helicopter in the field because there's like a big emergency. It's like a medevac flight, and he busts through the fence and he kind of like does a big drift in the field with his truck, which is another Cummins turbo diesel, and they dubbed a monster truck soundtrack over it. And I'm like, that doesn't make that noise. What are you doing? That's not how that's supposed to work.
Yikes.
Does that drive you crazy?
Yeah.
Oh.
There are other shows though. I know that have you ever heard of Initial D?
Yeah.
The anime?
Yeah.
They went to like really great lengths to get the audio exactly perfect.
Yeah, the right audio.
Yes. And I love it when they do that.
My thing is like, okay, it's a great big giant production to make like a proper series and like seasons or a full movie, right? Who is the one in charge of the detail of that?
You would think there's at least a car guy on the...
Well, even if you're not a car guy, you'd have to be like just on set, hearing that truck pull up and go, that doesn't even sound close to the sound that we just put on it.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know enough about...
You spend hundreds of millions of dollars to produce a movie or something. Why are you skimping on making things accurate with the sound of...
Do they send it off to another production studio for the audio?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
And did that audio just say, give me the most ridiculous audio and throw it in there?
Like, I don't know. I'm thinking someone in some back office of some producing company was like, this is a car chase scene. And they went to their little
database of car sounds.
Yeah, database. They like internal Googled like, what does a car sound like at wide open throttle? Search. And then result 1. That's the one. We got it.
Maybe. It's bad when they do that.
It was so blatantly obvious too. Like it wasn't like kind of like it kind of could. It's like no, that's not even like. You could hear the guy like just feathering the throttle is not happening when he's just like pulling away from a parking spot.
Yeah, that one is blatantly obvious. I know that there was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you know who that is? The astronomer dude.
Yep.
He went to... Who was the dude that made the Titanic? Cameron... Somebody... I don't know. The dude who made the Titanic. And he told him the night sky was incorrect. The star alignment was incorrect in the scene. And he was like, oh, man, we didn't know that. Like, that one I can give you a pass on.
That's more technical, yes.
That's more technical, but that's like a professional doing his research and figuring out you messed something up.
This is like, have you ever been to a grocery store and seen and heard a different car pull in? Like,
yeah,
if it's
blatantly obvious,
a giant diesel truck pulling in, you know that sound.
Right.
That's not a sound that you can go, is that a Miata? Could it be a Miata? I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe now I will write to the producers of Yellowstone and say, that is wrong and inaccurate.
You should clip this and send it to them.
You know what? I might.
You might.
I might.
As you were out and about, listening to the sounds of cars.
I do like listening to sounds of cars. Right after I see them, too.
Did you see anything?
I did. Saw actually a bunch of cool stuff this week.
Okay.
Well, the first thing I saw that's not my spot of the week, but it is cool, was an Audi R8 V10 Performance. But it's not a regular Audi R8 V10 Performance because it was a yellow.
Yellow?
When's the last time you saw a yellow R8?
A yellow? Like bright yellow?
Yeah. Like a proper yellow.
Trying
to look for something yellow, but...
I don't know. A long time ago.
Like almost like the Corvette yellow.
Yeah, I don't know. A long time ago.
Honestly, that's what the R8 needs.
Did it have the black side stripe? Yeah,
It
I can dig
actually
that.
was brand new, so I don't know if it has the side stripe brand new or not, but it was yellow with black accents, and it was brand new.
I can dig that.
And honestly, that's what the R8 needs, I think. It needs that flair.
Yeah, because the gray's a little
Bland.
bleh.
Yeah.
It kind of just blends in with most other cars. When we see them, we're like, oh, it's an R8, okay.
Because we know what we're looking at.
It's some respect. It's not like, oh my God, it's amazing, but...
And that's it. I passed those like, normally an R8 doesn't do anything for me, but that, I actually really like that.
Yeah.
That looks really good, and it sounded great.
Solid.
This was one of
What
my spots.
what were the wheels and brakes? You remember the colors?
Black and yellow calipers, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the correct spec to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a great spec. I actually really, really liked seeing that.
Nice.
Now, my next spot is something that's... You really just don't see a lot of them.
Okay.
It is a Jag.
Oh boy. All right.
A Jag.
We've already talked about Jag
We
on
have
the show.
talked about Jags. I saw a Jag XK, but not a regular XK. Saw a Jag XK RS.
That's the special one.
That is the hottest of all the XKs.
Yes. Okay.
Honestly, I forgot how much I love this car. Oh my God.
This is the one that the Top Gear guys absolutely adore.
One of them. Well, yes. They actually like it more as the not super hot version, but yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Tell me more about this car.
Yeah, so the cool thing about the Jag XK RS is that it's actually very limited. It was made about, I think, 200 or so of them.
Wait, that's it?
Maybe 500 total. I'm not 100% sure,
Oh my gosh.
but it's super rare. It's essentially this like British muscle car.
Yeah.
It's got a great big giant V8.
Is it? Who makes the engine?
Jag.
Is it Jag? Jag makes the engine?
I believe so.
It's not like a Mercedes import or something weird?
No, I believe it's a Jag 5-liter V8.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same 5-liter V8 they've been using in a lot of stuff. But it is supercharged in this. So it's a supercharged 5-liter V8
Okay.
making 543 horsepower and 502 torques.
Solid.
Some good power. And
Solid.
I'm going to be honest, it sounded
Yes.
perfect. It sounded like what I would imagine a Spitfire to sound like.
That's what I remember on Top Gear about that car.
That deep bellow.
Yeah, the bellow.
Oh. Saw it, and then I heard it, and then I was like, "Oh yes, that is good." I saw the RS badging and everything.
In your Jeremy Clarkson voice.
Yes. Ooh. Very, very good. Now here's the issue. It's big.
It's
want to-
long.
You want to talk about its bigness?
Yes.
It's not little.
No.
How much do you think it weighs?
Well, considering you could land a Cessna on the hood, so
Pretty much, yeah.
it's probably not light.
You're correct. Yeah, it is over 4,000 pounds.
Wait, really?
It is over 4,000 pounds.
It's almost double my BRZ.
Yes.
Okay. The power to weight ratio just became a problem in that car.
I love it though.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
But the power to weight ratio doesn't matter because it's a muscle car. Because it's a Mustang from Britain.
Yeah.
It's a 5-liter V8. It weighs as much as a moon. It's long. It's a British Mustang. Is it not?
No, it totally is, and it sounds like a British Mustang. It's ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah, it was right up your alley.
I'm deeply, madly in love with it. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. For those of us watching on YouTube, you might see a picture of the white XKRS. That's actually the exact spec that I saw.
Was it?
Yeah. So for those listening on audio, it was white with like the gunmetal wheels, the red calipers. It's just a perfect spec. I didn't realize we had one local to us here in Sarasota.
Yeah. So I thought that the power weight ratio would be bad, but I looked up the quarter mile and 0 to 60 times.
What is it?
0 to 60, 4.2 seconds.
It's a sports muscle car.
Yeah, no, it's a reasonable speed for that. For that kind
it's
of car.
quick. Yeah,
that's solidly quick. And then a quarter mile time of 12.5 seconds at 120-ish miles an hour.
Yeah, not bad.
Which is not
quick.
bad. But
It's quick.
way faster than the BRZ. But I thought that with the power to weight, it was going to be relatively close to the BRZ. I was way wrong.
You way wrong,
I was way wrong.
The BRZ is...
It's slow.
Goddamn.
Very.
And now it has oil in it.
It does. It did. It just expelled it all.
And then it didn't. Yes.
And then it didn't.
But yeah, that's one of my spots, was a Jag XK RS.
All right. That's a solid one.
So that is a solid one. But I do have actually a real, true, genuine top shelf spot this week. Not a PT Cruiser.
You trolled me last time.
I did troll you last time. And I am very, very sorry about that.
How are you now?
Not at all.
Okay.
But my spot of the week this week is actually really super crazy legit as a proper spot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know we had one of these in town until I just saw it. It is a Ferrari.
Okay.
But not a regular Ferrari that you're going to see everywhere, like a 458 or a 488, or even the Novatech, because we have two Novatech Ferraris here, right?
Yes, we do.
This is a Ferrari SF90 Stradale.
Didn't we talk about one of these on the news recently?
Nope. We talked about the SP3 Daytona.
Okay.
The SF90 Stradale is is Ferrari's like newest, most crazy supercar. And it's a hybrid.
Right up your alley.
No. Yeah, I don't. It's a plug-in hybrid. But it is up my alley because it sounded phenomenal as it drove by.
Oh, really?
I didn't know we had one of these in town until it passed me on like a pokey little street, and I was like, "Oh my god, an SF90!" Freaking out, going crazy. So this is a plug-in hybrid, the SF90, and I found out its plug-in hybridness is combined with a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that the V8 alone makes 770 horsepower. And then it's got 3 electric motors.
3?
To give it an extra 217 horsepower. So totals 986 horsepower and 580 pound-feet of torque.
900 horsepower? Holy moly.
Actually, that's close to 1,000. That's 986. That's almost 1,000.
How much does it weigh?
A lot. Well, not a lot, but less than the Jag.
Oh, God. Okay.
It weighs 3,900 pounds.
Yeah, okay.
With almost 1,000 horsepower.
It's dumb fast.
0 to 60 in between 2 to 2.3 seconds.
Yeah,
Top speed, 211 miles per hour.
Okay. It breaks the 200 mark.
Now, the next spec is maybe my favorite spec of this whole car.
The next spec, okay.
Are you ready for this particular fact?
Mm-hmm.
It's cargo volume.
What the heck? Okay.
Now, how much cargo it can have?
How many bags and shenanigans?
Yep.
How many groceries can you fit in this?
3.
Three.
It's
What?
3 feet cubed of cargo
3
space.
cubic feet?
That's it. Literally 3 feet.
What? That's like
It's the smallest number in the world.
it's like 3 cup holders.
It's the smallest number in the world.
3?
Oh, honey, make sure you don't take this to Walmart. And if you do, the only thing you can get is literally 1 lollipop. That is all you can fit in the SF90.
What the heck?
A singular lollipop.
Okay.
I don't think you can even fit a cup of coffee in the damn thing.
That's ridiculous.
It is the smallest cargo space I think I've ever heard.
What
3.
Okay.
3. It's not just single digits. It's low single digits.
I have
It's
so many
hardly
questions.
over 1.
I have so many questions.
It's 3. It's 3.
Maybe they're getting around regulations or something. I don't know.
It's the most staggering statistic of the whole car. The cargo volume is 3.
3 cubic feet.
3.
Okay.
But the next statistic is much more than that. It's the price.
Oh. Okay.
There's no easy way to say this. It's $625,000. Base price. Base. I heard the one we have in town, with all of its extra spec and options, is it's about $1 million.
Jeez. Okay.
So you pay almost $1 million, and you get cubic cargo volume of 3.
Yeah, not much. I don't think that's why you're buying that vehicle. But
Probably not.
whoa.
But what a spot, though.
That's a cool
Good
spot.
Lord. And I like the look of it, too.
Yeah.
Do you like the look of it?
I do like the look of it. It's aggressive, but it's also like trying to be futuristic.
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It has some like, it almost has a little bit of this like retro-y feel to me.
Yeah. It has a mix of futuristic and retro.
Like, I like it.
I do too. I would be very curious if we see one at a car show here soon.
We might actually see one this week, as a matter of fact.
Really? Mm-hmm. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. But, and actually, this Saturday is Cars and Coffee here. Mm-hmm. And you know the theme for this February Cars and Coffee?
Dump your oil on the ground?
You would be the winner there. It is actually Ferrari February, this theme.
Oh, it should be there.
So it's probably going to be there, and as well as all the Ferraris in town. But yeah, that's my spot of the week, is the SF90 Stradale.
That is a good one.
I agree. Very good. I've seen some killers recently. Mm-hmm. So have you seen anything while you've been
I've seen some top-notch coffee, my friend. Top-notch.
Have you?
I
saw like PT Cruiser top-notch?
No, it's old is what it is.
Okay.
We'll chat about it. I saw I think we've seen this at one of the car shows before. I believe I've seen this. But I saw it out on the road, so it was worthy of a spot. And it's actually a cool car. It was a 71 Plymouth Barracuda.
Oh, a Cuda.
It's a Cuda.
I like that.
It was in purple and black.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. And it had the Cuda badge on the back.
That is how you need to buy that car.
And it smelled terrible. It just smelled like gas the whole time you were behind it.
That's terrible?
It's exactly how it should be.
That's the best smell in the world. I love that.
Unburnt fuel was just spilling out the exhaust pipe. That's fine.
We love efficiency.
No problem here. But let me give you some specs on the Cuda.
Hit me.
So we're talking about some OG stuff here, right?
Yeah.
We know that back in the day, they were very good at building very big engines.
The bigger, the better.
The bigger, the better. But they weren't very good about getting horsepower out of those big engines.
No. You had like a 12-liter V8 that had like 112 horsepower in it.
The top of the line Cuda, back in, I believe this is a 71 is what I saw. They made these between 1970 and 74. The top of the line Cuda you could have got was a 7.2 liter V8.
Jesus. 7.2 liters of displacement.
Hefty.
There ain't no replacement for displacement, as they say.
That's what they say. That would make you 425 horsepower.
You know, that's a lot more than I expected for that era of car.
Agreed.
So that is not as much as it would get nowadays.
Nope.
But for that era of car, a 7.2 liter V8, I actually expected from the 1970s that making sub 300 horsepower.
True. They did make a lower end version of this. They made I believe that it was it's called a slant 6. I don't know what that is between a V6 and a slant 6. I'm not exactly sure there.
Not sure.
But it was a 3.2 liter and it only made 275 horsepower. So
yeah, that's still not as little as I would expect. I would just expect like way less. From a slant 6, I'd expect 150.
Yeah,
from 1971.
Right.
So actually, I'm impressed with those numbers.
A slant 6 is an inline 6, but like on a tilt, which is kind of odd.
So it's like a half of a V6, or it's like a half of a V12.
Yes, kind of odd. Yeah, half of a V12 is what it would be. How much do you think that this guy weighed though? Because if it was making 275 on the base and 425 on the top tier Cuda,
you know, honestly, this has got to be. It's a muscle car from the 70s.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be almost 6,000 pounds.
3,300.
What?
Actually, not too bad.
Okay, you know,
not too
actually
bad.
Really spicy for that era.
I know.
That is a hell of a lot more performance and power to weight than I would have expected out of a 1970s Cuda. Mm-hmm. That is actually, you know what? 400 some horsepower with 3,000 and change. That's actually like properly pretty punchy, I think.
Reasonably fast for what that car was back in the day.
Even nowadays, that's still quick.
Yeah.
That's not obviously SF90 quick, but like that's properly still
it was built in 71. It would never be SF90
Well,
quick.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like I'm just stunned that it only weighed so little.
Mm-hmm. And did you know that this was related to or is related to the Dodge Challenger?
I feel like I did know that. That does ring a familiar bell to me.
Mm-hmm. And for those listening, this would have been a third generation Cuda. It was a cool little car. It was a good spot.
Honestly, I love it, especially in purple.
Yeah.
I love a car.
Yeah, it was a great color. Purple with the black, and it had CUDA on the side and the badge on the back. And there was a guy with a stogie hanging out of his mouth, and his arm was out the window. And
Good.
Probably.
Did he have a mustache?
65 years old.
Was there a mustache?
Oh, there was facial hair for sure.
Good.
Yes. So he was loving life.
I love it. I aspire to be him. So is that your spot of the week?
That is it.
All right. Well, very nice spot.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on to the final I wish they would have?
We should.
Okay. So the I wish they would have. What is your I wish they would have for episode 50, Derek?
Okay. I wish that cars, in general, could determine if you were dumb. And they could not expel all their engine oil out the filter.
How did I know you were going somewhere with that? I just knew you had something to do with a blunder that had to do in your.
Hey, I will own up to my blunders.
Yes, you will.
I will, no problem. And I hope people
And if
learn
you
from
don't,
it.
I won't let you not.
Yeah, that's fine. And I hope that people learn from it. But I wish that there was a way that the car could determine if the oil pressure was like way off when it started.
Yeah,
and
if you
kind of
turn
cut
on
itself.
the oil pressure is like 2.
Yeah.
Oh God, no!
And then cut the engine off and said, "Here's a big flushing oil. You need to go sort that out before it."
Look under your car. You have a lake.
Yeah. Before it spewed all the rest of the oil out the engine. But that's probably more on me than it is the car.
Yeah, but I do see where you're coming from. Where it would just be like, I don't know, even if it's something not like digital, but just like a flag that went up, like, pew, this is wrong. Turn off now.
They definitely have oil pressure sensors in the engine, and it could do a series of checks when you try to start the car, but apparently it doesn't, and it just shoots it everywhere. So,
you didn't get the oil light on?
No, I turned it off so fast though. Oh, once I saw that puddle, it was off immediately because I knew.
Oh God, turn it off now.
Oh yeah, I knew you do not run an engine without oil in it.
No, that will end catastrophically.
Very yes, metal touching metal, not good.
Very not good.
Yes.
So that's what I wish they would have.
Yeah, I wish that it had a better checking system, but I can understand why it doesn't. So what do you got?
All right. So my I wish they would have actually came from one of my students named Josh. We were talking about, the size of cars nowadays, and like how I wish you could buy like a proper small to mid-size truck. Like if you look at a Tacoma or a Ford Ranger from today, it's as big as a Ford F-150 from 10 years ago, from 20 years ago. Like it's bigger than an F-150 from like 20 years ago. And that's the smallest truck nowadays.
Right.
I wish we still had like actual proper trucks, not just like the Maverick, but like a proper pickup truck or an SUV that still maintain that small to mid-sizeness. And I think it came down to the chicken tax is what they called it, which I don't know too much about the chicken tax, but it was about, I believe, when they would tax or some sort of tax on imported goods depending on the size of the vehicle, which is why they kept, I don't know this for sure, and it has to do with not just like actual vehicles, but other stuff back in, I think, the Cold War era.
The chicken tax is a 25% tax on light trucks imported to the U.S.
Exactly. So the size of the truck, right?
Yeah, imposed in relation to a European tariff on American chicken imports.
Yeah, so I don't really understand a whole lot of the background of it, the bureaucratic part of it, but I believe that's probably why we have so big, small trucks now. But I just wish you could get like a proper small truck nowadays, like a lightweight, proper truck.
So the Europeans were not happy that the Americans were putting a tariff on chicken, so then they put a tariff on trucks?
Something.
What the heck?
Something like that.
That is a weird name. That's an odd one.
It is, but that's my wish I would have. I wish you could just buy like a proper small to mid-sized truck nowadays.
I do agree, but I guess that this tariff wouldn't apply to a truck that was created in the U.S.
Agreed.
So if Ford or Chevy or Dodge
in general is just, I wish you could get a small truck, whether it be a Ranger or something. Like I wish they made a proper pickup truck that didn't evolve to this big fat inflated thing that ate a lot of cheeseburgers.
So the Maverick's not small enough for you?
Not a truck.
Not as a truck?
It's not a truck.
Oh God.
We can have this debate again if you'd like, Derek.
Let's hear it.
It's not a body on frame. It's a unibody. It's not a truck. End. That's the end of the discussion as far as I'm concerned.
See, I'm not a truck guy. I'm just like, does it have a bed? Okay, it's a truck.
It's not a truck. Body on frame. Small, technical, lightweight, body on frame pickup truck that could be used to haul things and go off-roading in tight, small areas.
But what's the point of having a small truck?
Because
You're supposed to haul things.
yeah, you can still haul. Have you seen the unkillable truck?
Yeah,
And it was small. I want that.
the Hilux.
Yes.
Yeah, the Hilux.
And I want that size.
The Hilux was small. I agree. The F-150s of nowadays are not nearly that small.
Nothing is small nowadays.
But we are American. We just get bigger.
Touche. On that note, we should probably end.
Should.
Or as I guess the saying should be, on that bombshell. So that's going to end us for episode 50. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave us a thumbs up and a comment on the video. If you're listening on audio, whether that's Apple, Spotify, wherever, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and drop a comment or review on that platform of choice. Also, make sure you send us your I wish they would have or any other auto-related news articles through our social. Facebook is We Are Auto, Instagram is We Are Auto _, and YouTube is We Are Auto. Again, that's going to wrap us up for episode 50. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.